Welcome to Bright Ideas, the podcast for leaders building companies and cultures that scale. I'm your host, Desiree B. Sharpe, keynote speaker and CEO of Color Vision Lab. If you're ready for unfiltered insights and strategies for building empowered teams and resilient businesses, you're in the right place. This is Bright Ideas, where leadership gets personal. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Bright Ideas, and thank you for tuning in to the latest Bright Bite episode. It feels like it's been forever since I recorded a solo episode, but in reality, it's only been about a month. It probably feels a lot longer because October was a very long month. It was also incredibly busy, but in all the best ways. October was filled with new beginnings, fresh connections, aligned opportunities, and lots of joy and fun with my baby girl, Zuri. Really was just the perfect balance of meaningful progress in my work, but also balanced with lots of wholesome family time. So it's all good. In my last Bright Bite, I announced that I've been accepted into the Women's Entrepreneurship Initiative, which is a 9-month accelerator that's funded by Invest Atlanta. That's the economic development arm of the city of Atlanta. The program supports early-stage women founders of high-growth startups and social impact ventures through leadership training, strategic partnerships, community, and access to capital. And it has been an incredible experience so far. Like when I think about what the perfect accelerator program would look like, feel like from both a tactical, hands-on business growth or support standpoint, but also the quality of women and other stakeholders in the community. It really was just the perfect fit for me at this stage in my journey, building this new venture that I've been talking about, Savix. So it's just been great, and I've been learning a lot. Last month, we kicked off the program at Venture Atlanta. So Venture Atlanta is the largest venture capital conference in the Southeast, and there were more than 1,600 founders, investors, and ecosystem leaders who attended literally from all around the world, which I was a little bit surprised by because my perception of Atlanta is a little different because I went to school here. I've been here for over 10 years, and the Atlanta that I know is not the Atlanta that the city is becoming, but that's a good thing because Atlanta has, the mayor, Andre Dickens, he has an ambition to grow Atlanta to become a top 5 tech hub. And based on what I've heard at this conference, the city is well positioned to achieve that goal. But this conference was my formal introduction to both the VC and tech worlds. And wow, my mind was completely blown. I've been to lots of different conferences, but this one was different in that people were a lot more direct about what they were attending for, who they were looking to connect with, the resources they could offer, and in turn, what they were looking for from other people. I can appreciate this type of networking because you kind of just get to cut through the fluff and get straight to the nitty-gritty of why you invested all this time and money to attend the conference, right? Well, thankfully, I didn't have to pay. We had sponsored tickets, but still, I think it costs like $800 to attend this conference. So people were there to make strategic connections and get their money's worth. I was actually able to secure one-on-one meetings with 4 investors to share my vision for growing Savix. This was also a new experience for me because my 2 previous businesses were bootstrapped service businesses. So my new company is a tech and product-based company that I plan to raise capital for. So this was my first formal experience with speaking to investors about my vision for my new company. And if you missed my last Bright Bite, Savix is my AI-powered vendor management platform that helps small businesses stop overspending on subscriptions. So during the conference, I also attended the Female Founders Dinner, which was hosted at Invesco by a wonderful woman named Jen Graham. Her company is called Inclusive with 2 V's. And this experience reminded me just how powerful it is when women leaders gather together. The innovation, the energy, and possibility in that room was just electric. It was infectious and just so authentic and collaborative and just so true to how women network. I was also able to reconnect with some familiar faces from the corporate procurement world, but this time it was in a new capacity discussing my new company, Savix. And that was a great experience as well because these were people who work in supplier diversity and corporate procurement for major organizations like Pfizer, UPS, Coca-Cola. Some of them have known me for the entire 5 years that I ran my previous people and culture consulting firm. And for them to now engage me in this new season of my career and business, it was very much a full circle moment. Some of them had also been elevated to higher level positions at their current companies or moved over to other organizations. And it's just nice when you have this community, this local Atlanta community, you run into the same people over and over again, and you kind of get to support each other as you move forward, in business and career. So that was great. But all in all, Venture Atlanta was just an incredible experience. I can still feel the energy. I'm still inspired by the energy of that conference. It was just this energy of impact, resilience, and wealth, to be quite frank. There was a lot of wealth in the room. It was exactly where I needed to be, and it set the tone for what I know will be a transformative 9-month journey in the WE program. After Venture Atlanta, we dove into our first lab. So every month we have these evening sessions called labs, which are 2-hour in-person classes that are designed to build specific skills that we'll need to grow our business. And the first one was called Leadership Foundations, and it focused on shifting from a founder to a CEO mindset and what confident leadership looks like in real life. Going into this session, I figured that I may not have a ton to learn about this topic since my previous company did a lot of leadership development consulting, and I have some expertise around that. But I was completely wrong because the women who facilitated this session were operating at a level that I had not reached yet and completely dismantled some limiting beliefs that I had, as well as some outdated ways of thinking in terms of what leadership looks like and how to cultivate my own signature leadership style. So the session was led by Jameen Moten. She is the powerhouse founder and CEO of Skylar Security, which is a guard security robot dealer company based here in Atlanta. And she was joined by Bernie Dixon, a highly accomplished businesswoman who's held several C-suite roles at Fortune 100 companies. She also runs an angel investment advisory group and has achieved well over 30 successful exits through her coaching program, Launchpad 2X. And that program, I believe it focuses on supporting high potential women-led companies. So just really impressive women who facilitate this session. We talked about what it takes to lead a $1 million company versus a $20 million company. And one thing that they mentioned that I found pretty funny, but also true, is you don't really get to call yourself a CEO unless your company is doing at least $1 million in revenue. And at first I was thinking, why not? I've had companies that didn't hit that marker and I felt like I was a CEO. But when they started to talk about the problems and decisions that have to be made at that 1 million plus marker and also going all the way up to 20 million plus, I could understand why they said that. They talked a lot about the lessons that come from building 8-figure businesses and the courage it takes to walk away from misaligned deals, including a $5 million contract that Jameen walked away from that most founders would kill for. Reflecting on my experience in the workshop, I couldn't help but think about the fact that men have these backroom conversations all the time. And this was one of those conversations, except there were no men in the room. We were a group of women sharing resources, connections, advice, anything the next person needed to shorten the learning curve so that we could all move forward together. And as I sat there listening to people speak, I kept thinking, wow, I'm finally in the right room. And that might actually be the key takeaway from this Bright Bite episode is get in the right rooms. Get in the rooms that make you feel uncomfortable, aspirational, and that are inviting all at once. You can find plenty of rooms that make you feel uncomfortable, that are aspirational, but they don't create the space for vulnerability where you can raise your hand, ask a question, ask for the resources you really need to move your business forward. Those are the rooms that stretch your perspective and expand your belief of what's possible. And if you get in enough of those rooms, eventually you'll look up and you'll realize that you're living a completely different life. Beyond the WE program, I was also able to reconnect with some amazing business colleagues at UPS through the Greater Women's Business Council. Last year, I actually participated in UPS's Elevation Business Development Program through GWBC, and I was also awarded a grant through that program. And this year, they invited me back to speak on an alumni panel for the current cohort's graduation reception that was hosted right here in Atlanta at UPS's headquarters. It was another great event where women came together to share our stories of building businesses that have beat us down and built us back up and then knocked us down again, and just all the mistakes that we've made along the way. And it was just a great experience and opportunity to connect with other founders. I actually really love speaking on panels. I've found that the right one feels like a warm conversation between friends in my living room, and this one felt no different. It was also my first time publicly sharing the story behind how and why I founded Savix. And honestly, I was a bit nervous about that. Now, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while or you know me personally, you know that I'm no stranger to vulnerability. I actually welcome it. But this was different. When I look back on my journey, there was significant divine influence behind the creation of my company. There were so many right place, right time moments that some might call a coincidence. But as a believer in Christ, I know better. Nothing is a coincidence. I had very real encounters with God that led me to this place. From the decision to close my previous company, to taking a leap of faith and applying to the WE program, even though I wasn't technically qualified for the program, to having the audacity to go into tech as a non-technical founder who's only had bootstrapped service-based businesses. Each of those steps was an act of radical obedience. And God is honoring that obedience with the right people and resources that I need to build this company the right way. As a woman of faith, I know I've been called to the marketplace to minister through business leadership. It's taken me a while to realize that because I used to think that you could only serve God and build his kingdom through a church or something similar. I didn't know that you could serve God through business, or if you were called to serve as a dentist or as a stay-at-home mom. But we all have different callings on our lives, and it's our responsibility to fulfill that calling. Personally, I've never spoken so openly about my faith before. And for a millisecond, I want to emphasize a millisecond, I was worried about how people might receive it or whether it might cost me opportunities. But the truth is, I am far more afraid of losing God's love and favor than of losing any opportunity. And as it turns out, I really had nothing to be afraid of. Not only was my message well received, it landed exactly where it needed to with the people who needed to hear it the most, at the right time, too. It encouraged the women in the audience to keep trusting God to order their footsteps, because when the Lord calls you, he also equips you. Now, amidst all these exciting new beginnings in business, I am still a very sleepy new mom, slowly building a village around my family while being intentional about bonding with my daughter. And Saturdays have become our adventure days. And as exhausting as they sometimes are, I look forward to them every single week. In October, Zuri took her first trip to the zoo, and although she was more interested in the people than the animals, she still had a great time. That is until we got to the petting zoo area and she locked eyes with this one black goat that kept circling around us. I tried to squat down so that she could get a closer look and even pet the goat if she was interested in that, but girlfriend was not having it. She was not here for the goats, so we moved on and did some other things. We got on the train and did the merry-go-round. She loved that. So it was definitely a worthwhile trip. We also took our second trip to the Atlanta Children's Museum. The first time that we went, she was about 6 months, maybe 5 or 6 months. So I was kind of just carrying her around the museum. She couldn't do that much. But this time when we went, she's, a strong crawler. She can stand up, pull up on things. She's very curious and alert. She's talking, not like complete sentences or complete words, but she's talking enough, saying words like hi, bye, stop. So she was able to partake in all the age-appropriate activities, which was really great. We were supposed to be going to the pumpkin patch, but we decided to skip it and have lunch at one of our favorite spots, True Food Kitchen, and go shopping. So that was fun. All in all, we've really just been enjoying the fall season and are kind of just gearing up for the holiday season, which is going to be the busiest one we've ever had because we have Thanksgiving, and then 4 days later is my husband's birthday, and then my daughter's birthday is 5 days before Christmas, then Christmas, then New Year's, and my birthday is 6 days after the New Year. So, I am like sleepy just thinking about it, but we are excited nonetheless. We have so much to be grateful for in this season. But thinking about all the fall stuff that we've done, I now understand why parents say that kids are so expensive because between the cost of activities, the desperate need to keep high energy babies entertained, and the joy of seeing your child experience pure happiness, the system is absolutely rigged to take our money. Like, absolutely rigged. But let's be honest, they're going to get our money anyway because we'll do anything to keep the babies happy. We love to see the babies happy, and I feel that exact way about my daughter. So I'm not complaining. I'm just grateful to be able to spend time with her and do all these fun things because just 6-7 months ago, we were in the newborn trenches fighting for our lives. So I will not complain. We are loving this season. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this Bright Bite episode. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your support of the Bright Ideas podcast. Please be sure to follow the show to make sure you're keeping up with my journey with building my new tech company from the ground up, Savix. And if you're not already on my email list, you can join anytime for free at brightideaspodcast.com. And if you want to learn more about Savix, what we're building, where we're headed, go ahead and visit savix.ai. That's SAVVIX.ai to join the waitlist and be the first to know when we launch publicly. Thank you so much for your continued support of the show, and I'll see you next month. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to this week's Bright Bite. If today's message hit close to home, if it felt like I was putting words to something you've been carrying or working through, that's exactly the heart of my signature keynote, Leading Through Life Seasons. It's designed for leaders and teams navigating growth, change, or those seasons when everything feels like a lot all at once. If you're hosting a team retreat, offsite, or company event and want to bring this conversation into the room, visit DesireeBSharpe.com to book me to speak. Until next time, be bold, be resilient, be sharp. I'm Desiree B. Sharpe.